This is a very high-tech, very expensive bird feeder. It's got a camera in it so you can actually see the birds, which is cool, you know, but it's not really the vibe that we're going for. So today we're gonna make one that looks better, can go in anyone's backyard, and I think it's gonna be a big seller this summer. Let's go. So we got some oak here that we are going to make this out of. I don't think we're gonna need this whole entire piece, but, you know, it's just a piece we had laying around. We also picked up a dowel, 3/8 inches, and some plexiglass. I think altogether these were $4. So, plexiglass is 12 by 12. We do not need all of that. You could probably make 2 of these with this amount of plexiglass. So, let's get to building. This board's about 8 inches wide. We're gonna cut it to 10 inches in length, and that's gonna be the back of our bird feeder. We will need a bunch more of this later, but first cut this so it's 8 inches by 10 inches. Now we're gonna cut one more at 8.5 inches long, and again, the board is 8 inches wide. So we've got 2 boards here. One is 8 inches wide and 10 inches long. The other one is 8 inches wide and 8.5 inches long. They're both about 1.25 inches thick, but we're gonna go ahead and plane them down right now, get them to a working size of about 1 inch thick. Here they are, looking great. Now we got one side jointed, now we're just gonna go ahead and flatten the other side. Now we gotta make some cuts off of this 8.5 inch long piece. So the first thing we're gonna do is cut 2 pieces that are 1/2 inch thick and 8.5 inches long. So just bring this over the table saw, set that rib fence 1/2 inch away, and then go ahead and make 2 cuts. Now that we got those 2 cut out, we're gonna make 2 more cuts on the table saw. We're gonna do one at 1.5 inches and then one at 3.5 inches. You'll have a little bit of wood left over. Chuck that in the scrap wood bucket. You'll be able to make millions off of Etsy with that scrap piece. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take that 1.5 inch piece we just cut, and we're gonna cut its thickness down to be 1/2 inch thick. Now you can do that on a bandsaw. It's very easy on a bandsaw. You can run it through the planer a bunch, or you can do it on a table saw like us. Table saw is not recommended, but it sure is fun. Then you're gonna take your 3.5 inch piece and you're gonna cut that one perfectly in half because you're gonna take 2 pieces off of that. So ours is about 1 inch thick, and accounting for the blade width, we're gonna cut that down to 3/8 inches thick, and that'll be fine. We'll have 2 pieces that are 3/8 inches thick by 3.5 inches wide. All right, so this is how everything is gonna be oriented. We do have a few more steps left to go, but the siding will go here. This piece will get cut down a little bit. This will go right here. And then this piece will go up here. This one's gonna be cut down a little bit as well. And then this one's gonna butt down to the bottom there. This is the best way to conserve as much wood as you can and make this as cheap as possible. So now, let's continue cutting these. This piece for the little trough there, this one needs to slide in between these pieces, which is 7 inches. So let's just cut this down to 7 inches. Now, that fits right in there. Wow, perfect, perfect fit. Cool. All right, guys, we're doing a Kentucky dry run right now. That's what it looks like. What's a Kentucky dry run? I don't know. I just made it up, but I like it. So we're gonna roll with that forever. So the way that we are going to put this in is kind of cool. If you've ever put together an IKEA piece of furniture, sometimes what they do is they have little pegs that the shelves sit on. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use dowels, and this is going to sit on the dowel. And then we'll glue them to the dowel too, but I don't know, I think it'll be cool. A little like different type of thing that you don't usually see on a small little project like this. So now what we need to do is take these sides over to the table saw and get a little dado cut in them, because we're going to be slotting the plexiglass into those little dados that we made there, and then right here we'll have the plexiglass, which will be able to hold all the birds eating stuff. Since these pieces of wood are 1/2 inch thick, we need to raise the blade up so it is 1/4 inch high. And then the rib fence needs to be 1/4 inch away from the blade. So your blade is 1/4 inch high, your rib fence is 1/4 inch away. Go ahead and just run this one through, and then run this one through, and then we're done that step. Wow, I was not expecting that to be so see-through. So now that we've got the dados in it, it's just perfect. So now we need to cut this plexiglass down. So I have done this before on the table saw, and it works. Splinters a lot, there's a lot of crap that comes off it, but it does work. So we're gonna cut a piece off this that is 7.5 inches by 5 inches. One tip I have when using the table saw to cut this is don't put the blade up too high, just have it barely high enough. Wear safety glasses. We don't always do that, but we should. But for this, we always do. And a respirator. If you have a better way to cut plexiglass, leave that in the comments below because I would love to know. All right, this is satisfying. You see you got this little like burn stuff here. It burned it. You can just go ahead and it comes right off. Now we're gonna cut it down to 5 inches. So now we need to put this in at the very top, slide it down to this bottom piece. Now you know exactly where your trough is gonna go for the birds. So right now what we're gonna do is we're gonna clamp these sides down just so they stay there when we're working. Now that we've got this clamped on, what we're gonna do is we've got these small 1/2 inch cutoffs and we're gonna put one right here, can put one right here, and then we're gonna put our little trough thing, where our trough is gonna be, and then we're gonna put a little piece of veneer over this going up, which I guess it's not veneer, but it basically is. It's gonna be really thin to keep all the birdseed in. And we're going to grab our 3/8 inch Forstner bit. I'm gonna put this piece right against there, and we're gonna go about 1.5 inches over, and then we're just gonna make one tiny little revolution. Just like that, and then on the other side as well. Now we've got these 2 marks right there, so now what we're gonna do is go all the way in, stopping when you get to this line right here. To get our dowel cut height, what we're gonna do is push it all the way down in, then we're gonna put this shelf back, and then we're gonna mark where the dowel meets the shelf. Pull it out, cut 2 of those out. Now go ahead and glue those dowels in. Wipe your glue. Now we got the dowels there, we're gonna slide our shelf back in, and then we're gonna put these little pieces back in. We're just gonna mark where to cut them. Now go cut them. Now we're gonna glue these little pegs to this. Now we need to put a piece covering here. So we've got this little scrap piece left over. So we can cut this down and then we're gonna make this real thin. So first, cut this down to 7 by 1. We need to get this thinner. It's about 3/8 inches right now. So what do you think? Think we can run that through the planer?
I think it'll be fine.
Let's find out in this segment of Are We Gonna Lose a Finger? Thank you for joining us on that segment. We did not lose a finger. All right. I'd like this to be thinner, but it's as thin as the planer will go. That's okay. Glue it, clamp it, let it sit for a while. We will come back and maybe do something else that'll make us lose a finger. All right, while we're waiting for this to dry, that's kind of fun. We are going to take these off. And now we're actually going to glue these and clamp them. Then we'll do the bottom, then we'll do the top, then we'll insert the shelf. That will be done. Then we'll go golfing. Then I will win. Then John will lose. Then John will cry. Then John will beg for us to take it off of the official score sheet. Then we'll probably eat 6,000 to 7,000 calories for dinner. And then I'll lie about going for a run and
call it a day.
Yeah, I think that's it. All right, it is the next day, and we've got this all dried. Our little trough here is dried, so now you just go ahead and slide it in. So what we can do now is take this out, put some glue down here. We'll put it on this part, and then some glue on the dowels, and then we'll just go ahead and we'll glue that in. And while that's happening, we will start working on the bottom and the bar stools for the birds. Just gonna go ahead and center it up a little bit. And now we need the bar stools to go into here and then up here. So obviously they're birds, so they're very small. I don't know what kind of birds y'all got out there and, you know, Oklahoma, wherever you are, but we got some, you know, they're not big birds. They don't need a big bar stool. So the bar stool is probably gonna be like 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch. It's gonna be pretty small, and we're gonna do 3 of them. So we're gonna drill a hole in this bottom here, like 1, 2, 3. So right now we kind of just need to eyeball it and mark 1/4 inch on the left side, 1/4 inch on the middle, and then 1/4 inch on the right side, and then we'll go ahead and we'll figure out exactly where those need to go in a second. So we're gonna do 1 at 4 1/4, because that's your center. Now we're gonna go 1 3/4 inches over, make a mark, and then 1 3/4 inches back and make a mark. Now go ahead and drill those out with your same 3/8 inch Forstner bit. We made these holes a 1/4 inch deep, so we're gonna cut 3 pieces of this dowel at 2 3/4 inches long. Go ahead, place those in. Now, when the birds come to feast, they've got something to stand on, but they gotta have little chairs. And remember, these are small birds, so they don't have to be big chairs. But if you want to, you can make your base bigger and have a little bit more room if you got bigger birds out there in Idaho, wherever you're at. Now we're gonna take a scrap piece, we're gonna run it over to the table saw, cut it down to 3/4 inch by 3/4 inch, then this whole thing will be 3/4 inch by 3/4 inch, then we'll take it over to the miter saw, and then we'll chop off 3 squares off that. Those will be our benches. I'm gonna find the center of these cute little thingies. I don't think anyone's ever found the center of something this small before. Maybe they have. Drill into this, not too deep. You don't wanna go too deep. I feel like this is dangerous.
Yeah.
Another segment of, am I gonna lose a finger? Ooh, yeah, no, not doing that. All right, hold on. The things we go through for this bird, or birds. All right, that's great. Just clamp it. Yo, let's go. Bird stools. All right, now let's glue the trough bar piece to the bar stools. Flip her up. You got a few options here. You can put a big weight on it. You could go ahead and clamp it. It's a tricky clamp up, or you can brad nail it. Sorry about the lawnmower. People are mowing their lawns. That's summer. So just kind of eyeballing it. About a 1/2 inch will be fine. Now, let's just go ahead and put this plexiglass in. And you can see the plexiglass sits right there on the side of the trough. Perfect. That's what we want. That's what's gonna keep all the bird seed up here and also down here, but not overflowing. Last thing we're gonna do is attach a hinge to this. So the way we're gonna do that is we're gonna rest it here. We're gonna put 2 screws back here, and then once those are screwed in, we'll flip this up and we'll put 2 screws right here. Now you may ask, is this an intentional design for the screws to hit the top? Yes. No, it's not. We didn't have any of those tiny little screws that go flush to the hinge. So if you do, you won't run into this problem. But honestly, I think it looks kind of cool. I mean, we were kind of going for like, originally we were going for this to sort of lean down, but having it lean up, also cool.
Yeah, it's like a cable roof. Is that a thing?
I don't know. Let's get some bird seed in it. Give it to the birds. Oh wow, that filled up way quicker than I thought. Oh. Bird bar. All right, now the hard part of the build. We need to put this outside and wait for a bird to come eat from it so we can get footage for you. So, let's do it. All right, guys, here it is. The bird feeder bar is complete. I love it. I'm very happy with the way it came out. Something like this, I'd say easy 40 bucks at least. I mean, it's white oak, so I believe you could probably get some more for it. I think this is gonna be a great seller this year. You're taking something that already exists, a bird feeder, you're upping the game a little bit, making it more fun. I haven't seen any of these out on the marketplace, so give this a try, see what you think. Worst case scenario, it's a fun project that you'll be able to use. Yeah, so we're gonna leave this, and we're gonna leave the camera set up, see how long it takes to get our first bar visitor. See you in the next one.